Representative Katie Hill is stepping down from the House of Representatives following a relentless smear campaign lodged against her by conservative blogs and her soon-to-be ex-husband. Now, she gave a fiery final speech on the House floor that we're going to share with you now. Take a look.
I will never shirk my responsibility for this sudden ending to my time here. But I have to say more because this is bigger than me. I am leaving now because of a double standard. I'm leaving because I no longer want to be used as a bargaining chip. I'm leaving because I didn't want to be peddled by papers and blogs and websites used by shameless operatives for the dirtiest gutter politics that I've ever seen, and the right-wing media to drive clicks and expand their audience by distributing intimate photos of me taken without my knowledge, let alone my consent, for the sexual entertainment of millions. I'm leaving because of a misogynistic culture that gleefully consumed my naked pictures, capitalized on my sexuality, and enabled my abusive ex to continue that abuse, this time with the entire country watching.
So as we had shared with you during earlier stories on this matter, Red State, which is a conservative blog and has a managing editor who worked for Katie Hill's opponent, put out all sorts of smears about her, one of which included the accusation that Katie Hill was engaged in a relationship with a current staffer. She has denied it. There has been no evidence of that. But Red State also was the conservative blog that published those intimate photos of her. And it's disgusting, especially when you consider the political motives behind it.
So I want to be clear on the actual facts here and why she's stepping down. No one has presented any evidence that she actually slept with a House staffer. If she did, then she would have to step down, because you have to be fair and say if a man did it, he'd have to step down, although Republicans never do. And so the same rules would apply to a woman. But there is no evidence of that. What instead they have presented as so-called evidence is just naked pictures of her in ones she didn't even consent to. That proves absolutely nothing. Now, there is one issue. She apparently did sleep with a campaign staffer. That is not against House rules and would not necessitate her stepping down. If you have got an issue with that, I get it, right? And that's an interesting debate to have. But overall, that's not why she's stepping down. She's stepping down because the Democratic Party, as usual, panicked. And they're like, oh my God, there's naked pictures of her. Oh my God, this is gonna be a distraction. This is gonna be a distraction. And I told you ahead of time that they would use the excuse of distraction, because that's what they use every time. And lo and behold, when she was stepping down, she said, I don't want to be a distraction. That is exactly what Democratic leadership told her. And now Nancy Pelosi has the temerity to turn around, come back and say she was, quote, an absolutely outstanding young public servant. Then why did you drive her out of town and not have her back?
House of Cards. Do you know what's funny when you just said what you said, because you're a principled human. So you were like, because if it would have been a man and he did that, then he would have to step down. So she would have to step down. The naivete of people who think that people in this workspace are exempt from being human beings, like everybody else. Like you hear people who work at Microsoft, and you know people there sleep with each other, and you hear of the people that work in Hollywood, and you know that they sleep with each other. But no, not in politics. These people don't sleep with each other because that's not the world that they live in. Yet we find out about congressmen who have their mistresses have abortions. What I'm tired of, what I'm really tired of, I had a conversation about this yesterday. It is the denial of sexism in politics and the demonization of women for doing exactly the same things that men do.
Yes.
And it is constant, and it is, you saw it with Hillary Clinton. I don't care if you don't like Hillary, you know the fact that she is a woman has a lot to do with why a lot of people hate her. She's not warm, she's not this. You see it with Elizabeth Warren now. You see it with AOC. It's a demonization of women for being exactly as human as men are and as flawed as men are. And it is, it's the fact of what I said earlier. We continue to act like we are not a sexist country. Like we don't live in sexism. Like it doesn't seep through our pores that women don't hate themselves and that men hate women. We continuously deny this. And then every time something like this happens, we're like, oh, all. The reality of it is that we don't tell the truth.
Yeah.
How many of these politicians, how many of these Bill Clinton walks around smirking with a Big Mac in his hand. We all know good well that Bill Clinton has done some of the, Monica Lewinsky became the villain in that story.
Yeah, that's true.
And has had to live out her life in public being a demon because Bill Clinton, the president of the United States, made a bad decision. I don't make excuses for people when they make mistakes, but at some point we gotta call a spade a spade.
Yeah, the double standard's definitely there. And one thing that stands out to me is women haven't really historically had a voice in political discussions. So while it's absolutely true that sexism persists overall, it's especially true when it comes to the political world. And it's not just about America. Look, I'm gonna keep it real. Like, I grew up in a conservative Armenian culture, right? Where every family dinner where all of us get together, the men are on one side, the women are on the other side. The men are sitting around talking about politics, right? And it's very weird for you to want to be part of that conversation. And I remember sitting there with the women talking about clothing and makeup and all the nonsense I don't care about, feeling like I was out of place. So it is a cultural thing. It's true of many other countries. It's certainly true of the United States. It isn't until fairly recently that women started feeling empowered enough to inject their voices into these conversations. And we need to continue doing that so there isn't this double standard when it comes to behavior, right? Because women are sexual beings as well. And you know what? That benefits everyone, including the men that take advantage of this double standard to destroy them.
So I'm gonna get to one silver lining in a second, but to back up what you guys are saying, Duncan Hunter Jr. is under criminal investigation. It's a little different than the Katie Hill story. He used campaign funds for his own personal benefit. Illegal, you can't do that. And one of the things he used it was to have 5 different affairs. 5 different affairs, okay? So have the Republicans asked him to step down? Nope. Nope, they're like, oh yeah, it's Tuesday. Yeah, oh, you party of family values. You had 5 affairs, and you know what he did after getting caught? He blamed the misuse of funds on his wife. Yeah, his wife spent the money on his 5 affairs. That's likely, right? But Republicans never back down, right? Democrats, as soon as, oh, there's naked pictures of you. I don't care why, I don't care. I'm a prude, and the Republicans are yelling at me. Now, how do you know that I'm right? Look, she used the magic words, distraction, right? That means Democrats are throwing her under a bus. She also said, if you notice in that clip, she said, I'm leaving because I no longer want to be used as a bargaining chip.
Yeah.
So what that means is Democratic leadership came to her and said, now the Republicans are gonna keep talking about you instead of Trump. And so since they're gonna keep using this as a distraction and they're gonna say, oh yeah, but Katie Hill did this, so the Democrats are bad, you're hurting the cause, so you gotta step down so they don't use you as a bargaining chip. That's what that means. Yeah. So it wasn't just the Republicans, it was the Democratic leadership that threw her under a bus. So the silver lining is, when she was giving that fiery speech, there was almost no one in the House, that's normal, right? But a couple people did show up, and it was mainly the freshman class. 2 of the Justice Democrats were there, Ilhan Omar and Ayanna Pressley. And Ayanna Pressley hugged her afterwards and gave her a t-shirt that said, if you're not outraged, you're not paying attention. And so one day, for the people who did this political trick, justice will also come. And
Can't
so
wait.
now I'm talking about political justice. So the message folks should send in that district, because there'll now be a special election, is, oh, you didn't like Katie Hill? Why don't we send someone even more progressive and see how you like that? Until they wish they'd never gone after Katie Hill in the first place.
And I just want to point out that once again, black women showing up for white women in the name of feminism and what's right for women, and being brave enough and bold enough, because they're always taking it. I mean, Ilhan, every day they wear her out. So I think it's very important to understand how intersectionality, and to understand why it's important for women to have solidarity.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.